Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Thursday. Greetings, salutations. Thanks for being here. We're with you for the next 3 hours on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9. We are online at 580WIBW.com. We are live on our video streaming channels as well, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube and WIBW News on Facebook. However, wherever, whenever you're tuning into the program today, thank you so much for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis will join us in a bit. Brendan Warzinski is off today. We are with you until 6 o'clock, at which point we will hand things off to the Royals Baseball Network for the first of four between the Boys in Blue and the Chicago White Sox. First meeting between the two AL Central foes this season. Game one of the series tonight at the K with Seth Lugo on the bump as the Royals try to shake off the disappointing series loss in Cleveland. It's Seth Lugo pitching for Kansas City tonight against Chicago's Anthony Kay. First pitch set for 6:40. And again, we'll have the pregame at 6 o'clock right here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. So before that, we got a lot of good stuff that we're going to get to here on this edition of the show. We're jam-packed today. Lots of stuff that we're going to get into. We will talk about the Royals. There's a lot of stuff that happens in a 12-game sample that isn't real. There's a lot that has happened in the first 12 games of this season. Some of it has been good, looks good on the back of a baseball card. Some of it doesn't look so good. But there's some stuff you can look at and you know it's not real. You know that player that started hot is going to cool off, or you know that player that has started cold is going to eventually get rolling. We have enough evidence to know that slow starts by verifiable all-stars are not permanent, and hot starts by verifiably replacement-level hitters are not likely to last either. But what are some things that actually do bear a little bit of monitoring, even if it's still too early to say anything's real or not? There are still a couple of trends early on, some positive, some negative, for this Royals team after a 5-7 start that are going to bear watching as April continues and rolls into May, and the sample size that we have to evaluate this 2026 Royals team gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So we'll talk some Royals baseball today. We'll talk about some on-the-field stuff. We'll also talk about how the Royals are going to look on the field because their City Connect uniforms, version 2.0, were released today. Farewell, hail and farewell. I really liked the navy blue with the KC word mark and the navy blue cap. I really liked that. I thought that was probably one of the best of the initial go-round of the City Connect uniforms that 28 of the 30 Major League Baseball teams wear as an alternate. Well, version 2 was released today for the Royals and 7 other teams across baseball. I'm curious what you think. I know we have a contingent of listeners who is staunchly anti-alternate jersey, and this is a different look. This is a color departure from the typical Royals palette. But I want to know what you think. I'll let you know what I think. We'll talk about those City Connect uniforms that they're going to debut, I believe, Friday night. They're going to wear it for all their Friday home games throughout the season this year at the K. And if form holds for the previous set, probably for the next couple of years hereafter. So some baseball to get to on the program today. We'll talk a little football as well. We've been talking plenty about the Chiefs, as we tend to do, but today felt like a good day to do a bit of an AFC West vibe check. We're 2 weeks out of the draft now. You know that? 2 weeks. 2 weeks away from the first round of the NFL draft. So with the draft approaching, with free agency largely having cooled off for now, how's everybody feeling in the AFC West? And which teams should feel the best about where things stand with their roster and with their place in the AFC West hierarchy? Is it still the Chiefs, even though they were knocked from their perch last year? Is it the defending division champion Broncos? Is it the Chargers? Is it, okay, it's not the Raiders, but is it one of those other three teams? We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the program today. Got two great guests lined up for you. Bottom of this first hour, coming up in about, I'd say 25 to 30 minutes or so. Rick Peterson of TopSports.News for the local sports spotlight. We'll talk to Pistol about what's happening in high school sports, what's happening with Washburn University athletics. Got a couple of high school basketball coaching hires in the city we'll get Pistol to weigh in on as well. That's all coming up here at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour. Rick Peterson for the weekly local sports spotlight. Then coming up at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour, CJ Moore from The Athletic joins us to recap the Final Four, put a bow on the 2025-26 college basketball season. Not only did CJ tell you that Michigan was going to win the national championship when the bracket came out, he told you Michigan was number one before the first ball had been tipped back in November. CJ knows ball is what I'm trying to say. He's the best college basketball writer in America. He's going to join us bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. We'll get his take on the Final Four. He had obviously a great perspective, kind of got to hang out with Dusty May throughout Final Four weekend. And so fascinated to get some thoughts on that. And also a look ahead to the portal. The Athletic today releasing the top list of top 30 players in the transfer portal. Former Kansas Jayhawk Flory Badunga at the top of that list. So we'll talk to CJ about that. CJ Moore coming up at 4:35 today. We'll also have our headlines. We'll do a little either or over under. We got another round of What Is Wrong With You. We'll check in on the Masters and have a lot of fun here on this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Want to hear from you as the show goes on today. You can text the program. 785-272-9429 is the number. It's 785-272-9429. Can also hop into the live chat on our YouTube stream. Name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Go subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Who's going to get us one closer to our stretch goal of 1,000? We're 59 subscribers shy of 1,000. I'd love to get to 1,000 by midsummer. I'd love to get there by today. If there are 59 of you listening that haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe. What are you waiting for? It doesn't cost you anything but a click. Open up the YouTube app on your phone. Just hit subscribe. Check out the YouTube for a while. Hop in the live chat if you've never done it before. Or don't and just go about your day and drive our subscriber numbers up. It's up to you. You have choices. You're a sovereign citizen. You're not a sovereign citizen. But you have free will. Give us the subscribe over there on YouTube. And if you are watching the program on our YouTube channel, jump in that live chat. Say hello. See Andrew, Mark H, Vance, Ryan. Tyler's in early. Good to see you all on the live chat so far today. Hope to hear from more of you as we go along. I mentioned that text line, 785-272-9429. You're going to want to keep that number handy because we continue on with our Win 1K a Day sweepstakes here on 580 WIBW. And this is how it works. I give you a keyword every hour. You text that keyword, just the keyword. Don't text anything else, just the word. Don't put a period after the word. That will void your text. You will not get registered. Just the keyword. Text it to 785-272-9429. There's a new keyword every hour. Text it one time in the hour, and you will be registered for your chance to win $1,000 today. We're giving away 1K a day every weekday this week and the next 3 after that. So this hour's keyword, I'll stop leaving you in suspense. This hour's keyword is cat. Cat. C-A-T. Cat. Cat is the keyword. Text cat. C-A-T to 785-272-9429. Don't call me and tell me the keyword. Text the number. 785-272-9429. If you want to call that number, though, and win something, I'm going to give some stuff away a little bit later on in the show. So be listening for your chance to call in and win something. But text the word cat this 3 o'clock hour. Keyword expires at 4 o'clock. I'll give you a new one in the 4 o'clock hour. Text cat to 785-272-9429. All right, the Royals are 5-7. Nobody's really happy with that. Nobody should be really happy with that. It's a slower start than anticipated, a slower start than welcomed. And a lot of the things you're seeing right now, if you go open up the baseball reference page for the Kansas City Royals and you just look at the back of the baseball card numbers, we know some of these numbers are not real. I mean, they're real in the sense that they have been achieved by the respective players 12 games into a season. But we also know that these numbers are going to look radically different when we get beyond where we are in this season, which is not even 10% of the way into the proceedings. Kyle Isbel isn't going to hit 429 all year. Michael Wacha is not going to have an ERA that starts with a 0. Bobby Witt Jr. is not going to slug 295. Vinny Pasquantino's OPS isn't going to start with a 5. Cole Reagan's ERA isn't going to start with a 5. We know these things are true. We know those are established players with an established track record of performance. And what we're seeing now in their numbers is small sample size noise to which their numbers will regress either positively or negatively towards their career norms. We know that. But there are some things, some positive, some negative, that I think do bear watching as we do get closer to that 10% mark. We'll hit it at the end of this series with Chicago and the White Sox this weekend. As we get closer to the end of April, we start kicking into May, some of these numbers, again, both good and bad, are going to bear watching because they might have a say as to how good or not this Royals team ultimately ends up being. It is much too premature to say this Royals team is X. This Royals team is this. If your priors were that you didn't think this team was a playoff contender, you've probably seen enough to feel a little bit validated. If your priors were that this was a playoff team or a team that could win the Central, well, you haven't seen enough to validate your priors just yet, but you shouldn't give up on them so easily after 12 games anyhow. But here are the trends that I think are most worth watching as we start this weekend series against the White Sox and move further into April and into May. And I'll start with trends from two young guys in the everyday lineup for the Royals. Carter Jensen is slugging .548 so far this season with 3 home runs. And now this is not me saying that I expect Jensen to end the season with a slugging percentage in the 500s necessarily. But do I think Carter Jensen's power is real? Absolutely, I do. He has shown, not just in this start to this season, but in his cameo with the Royals in September of 2025, that he has a knack for pulling the ball in the air with authority. Like many of his teammates, it's a bit too much swing and miss in his game, particularly the last handful of games, the last 2 in Cleveland in particular. And that's what I mean by small sample size noise. 2 bad games or 2 really good ones can pull you out of phase a little bit when it comes to what the numbers are really going to look like. So some of the strikeout numbers team-wide, you could chalk some of that up to noise. But flip side, Jensen is a power-hitting young player, so you do keep an eye on those strikeouts. You hope that he can keep that strikeout number down, ultimately below 30%. It's poked above 30% of at-bats. That's kind of the number at which you better be an elite power hitter. Otherwise, you're probably not a big league hitter. You've probably heard me say that before. 30% strikeout rate is the number at which you better have elite, top-of-the-scale power production. You better be bopping 30, 35, 40 home runs to make up for all that contact you're not making, or you're probably actively hurting the lineup. So that number's got to come down for Carter, but the knack that he has shown to pull the ball in the air hard, I think is real. And he has shown the ability to do some damage and lengthen the lineup and provide a bit more pop that this Royals lineup is sorely seeking. There's another young source the Royals were hoping to get some power production from, but here's another number that stands out through 12 games. A 0 in the RBI column. Never mind the home run column. The RBI column for Jack Caglione. And it's a real simple equation for Jack early in his career. It was a simple equation for him last year when he struggled throughout his rookie campaign, and it's a pretty simple equation so far this season. It's really hard to hit doubles, and it's impossible to hit home runs when you hit the ball on the ground. And Jack is still hitting the ball on the ground half the time. That's the impediment. All the bat speed, all the exit velocity in the world is great. It's great to have the tools. I still bet on tools for young players. This is not me selling Jack Caglione stock. But the issue is, if he's going to hit the ball on the ground that often, he's not going to get to the kind of power and run production that this lineup needs from him. Any upgrade to what was the weakest offensive outfield in baseball last year starts with Jack Caglione being not just a line mover, but a run producer. And he has not been that to this point. And again, like many of his teammates early this season, bit too much swing and miss. He'd gotten off to a good start in that regard. Then he had the game where he punched out 3 times. I think that was on Tuesday. Didn't play yesterday. Going to play today. Going to be back in the lineup as a DH. Got to see him hitting the ball in the air because when he does, he will do damage. He swings too good a bat, hits the ball with too much authority, has natural backspin that all the great power hitters have. When he hits the ball in the air, good things are going to happen. Good things are going to happen. Just has to start doing it. If he doesn't, his lineup looks a little shorter and looks woefully short, frankly, on power production. One positive trend from the bullpen, and you're thinking, Dan, come on, bullpen hasn't been very good this year. They just had to juggle the bullpen today. In fact, they sent Steven Cruz and Luinder Avila back down to the minor leagues, both of whom had to wear some long relief today or yesterday in Cleveland. Royals needed fresh arms. They called up a pair. Eli Morgan is back after he impressed in his Royals debut as the 27th man in the doubleheader, picked up the 3-inning save in that win over Milwaukee on Saturday. He's back with the big club. Mitch Spence called up today as well. He's been a swing guy, starter reliever. That's what he was with Sacramento last year, and he'll have a chance to potentially play that same role in that long relief role as Avila goes back down, which AAA is where he needs to be right now, and while Bailey Falter recovers from his elbow injury. So, yeah, not a lot of great things going on in the bullpen right now. Matt Strom's given up a couple of dingers. John Schreiber's all over the place. Obviously, he had Carlos Estevez meltdown in his first outing, and he's still on the IL. But Nick Mears and Alec Lang are missing bats. Nick Mears has struck out a batter per 9 in his first 5 innings, all of which have been scoreless. Alec Lang's K per 9 is up around 13. The Royals needed bat missers in their bullpen. They did not have enough of those last season. And 2 of their new guys, Mears was acquired in that trade with Milwaukee that also brought Isaac Collins in, and Lang was signed to a 1-year deal, former Tiger. Those guys are off to good starts in that department. Lang's K percentage, that's different than K per 9. That's strikeouts per 9 is how many strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. Strikeout percentage is strikeouts divided by batters faced, effectively. Lang's strikeout percentage resembles what it looked like in his 2022 breakout, where he looked like a young star in the Detroit bullpen. And Nick Mears is bouncing back to 2024 form before last year still being effective, but losing a lot of strikeout ability. With the injury to Estevez, with the early difficulties for Schreiber, right now, Mears and Lang are the most trusted late-inning guys right now behind Lucas Erceg, who has the 9th. And so they're really important out of Matt Quatrero's bullpen right now. Their ability to miss bats early in this season is encouraging. Now, I would like Lang to miss the strike zone a little less. His walks per 9 is up over 6, but a lot of that was that one night in the rain against the Twins when he couldn't find his footing and was obviously not comfortable. And so give him a little grace on the walk rate for now. It's obviously got to go down, but the strikeout numbers are encouraging. That's what you're looking for there in the late innings. And right now, those are late inning guys. Right now, Mears, Lang, and Strom is the most trusted bridge to Lucas Erceg in a close game. One more negative trend to get to, this one from the offense. The OPSs for Starling Marte and Lane Thomas are 571 and 450, respectively. The thought this year was that the Royals could platoon a little bit more readily with some more right-handed bats off the bench. It was also part of the thought process last year with guys like Mark Canha and Hunter Renfroe on the opening day roster. Both of those guys were cooked. Hunter Renfroe, probably noticed, not back in the bigs. Starling Marte is 37 years old, and I know he had an RBI double yesterday, and of his 3 hits so far, 2 of them have been doubles. But in 14 plate appearances, he struck out 7 times. That's an alarming early return for a player who has been trending in the wrong direction as he has gotten older and might just be cooked. He might. That's a reality the Royals might have to live with. Lane Thomas is much younger, and I think he's seeing the ball well at the plate. He's walked 5 times in 24 plate appearances. So he's a guy, at least right now, he's seeing it. He's just not squaring anything up. And following a year last year that was injury marred and a year in which he did not produce for Cleveland, the Royals have to be a little bit worried about their imagined platoon partner for Kyle Isbel, at least at this stage. So those guys are going to have to produce more. Otherwise, the Royals are right back in a situation they were last year where they did not have capable bench bats. They could not match up effectively against other teams' relief pitching matchups in late innings, or they could not match up well enough with top-tier left-handed starting pitching. Royals have to hope that and those numbers for Marte and Thomas are just more small sample size noise. This could all be sample size noise. We could be reconvening here on Monday, which is an off day for the Royals. We have a show tomorrow. Don't worry. That made it sound like we don't have a show tomorrow. We do. We have a show tomorrow. But we could reconvene here on Monday after that White Sox series. The Royals could have swept it or taken 3 out of 4, but which would put them back or over the 500 mark and feel a lot better about the state of things, broadly speaking, for the Royals, especially on offense, where right now, after we watched the last 2 games in Cleveland, it's hard to feel much worse about the state of things offensively for the Royals. But those are 4 trends I'm going to watch moving forward as the calendar creeps further into April and then on into May. It's a generally good idea not to trust a whole lot of anything you see statistically on April 9th. If it looks too good to be true or too bad to be true, remember it probably is. We'll take a break. When we come back, what y'all think of those new Royals uniforms? I want to know. Text me, 785-272-9429. Get at me in the live chat on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. We got Rick Peterson coming up for TopSports.News on the local sports spotlight. CJ Moore of The Athletic will join us to talk some college hoops at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. We got some Chiefs talk to get to. We got headlines, Masters talk. Lots of great stuff on the show today. We're with you till 6 on 580 Sports Talk. 3:31 on 580 Sports Talk. Just getting started on this Thursday. Rick Peterson going to join us in a little less than 10 minutes for the local sports spotlight. The Royals City Connect uniforms were released today. 8 Major League Baseball teams releasing a second edition of the City Connect uniforms. That's the branding that Nike has given the uniforms. Effectively, they're supposed to be a pretty radical change from what a team would generally wear. Some of them have been more successful than others. And, you know, everybody's got different opinions on fashion. At the end of the day, that's what these are. The Royals' old City Connect uniform was the navy blue with the KC in white, mimicking the City of Fountains, the flag insignia for the city. I really liked it. I really liked that design. And the reason I liked it is because it looked like a baseball uniform. Because they wore it with white pants. I'm really easy to please, actually, when it comes to these City Connects. Just look like a baseball uniform. Do not go out there looking like a slow pitch softball team. Like the Cincinnati Reds. Theirs is another red on red pants. You look like you're playing U12 travel ball. Get that out of my face. I don't care how cool the logo is. I don't care the design. None of that matters. If you're wearing color on color and it's not powder blue, because that has like a history and a heritage in the game of baseball. If you're wearing like a hard color on a hard color, like red on red, or the Pirates is black on black pants, leave that to slow pitch softball. I hate those. Even if I think the Pirates hat is dope on their new ones. They got like the dark gold with Bucko Bruce in the middle. Like, yeah, they kind of nailed the hat. The Royals' new look, I like because it looks like a baseball uniform. Because it's worn with white pants. They've got stripes and sort of a gradient look to it, purple to blue to a magenta. The hat also has the gradient look. It looks like somebody spilled ice cream on the top of the hat. The hat's a whiff for me. I do not like the hat, which is a bummer because I really like the old hat. I don't hate the logo on the hat. I like the R word mark on the breast. That's a callback to the original Royals word mark back in 1969, which I can appreciate. So there are elements of the uniform that I like. I like the number font. That works for me. I like the stripes, like the striping down the side. Kind of looks like the 80s Expos. Like, that's cool. That's cool to me. I like the striping. But the hat is a miss. The hat is a miss for me. I probably wouldn't. And that's like, that's the only part of it I would buy. Like, I'm going to go walk around in a baseball jersey. I'm not really in my jersey buying era anymore. So I can go buy a jersey. But I might buy a hat if you give me a cool one. And the Royals just didn't do it. I don't like the gradient. Doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for me. See what you think about it. Tyler says swing and a miss. Andrew says that the Braves are the best looking. The Royals are meh. The Braves went with the old powder blue. And you could put any team in powder blue, and I'd be like, hey, man, thumbs up. Powder blues just work. They work for teams who don't even have blue as a base color. Also, the Braves snuck in a tribute to the old TBS logo when they were the Superstation Braves on the sleeve patch, and that's sick, too. So I agree. I think the Braves are the best ones. The Braves are really good. Yeah, I do. I think they're the best ones by far. Let's see what else. Richard says they're trash. He's not a big fan. To say the least. One text from 785 says, no matter what, they can't be as bad as the old turn the clock forward uniforms they wore that one time. So yeah, I remember the Royals did that against the Mariners, I want to say, in Seattle. And they wore like sleeveless. They were vests. And I remember the Mariners had a bunch of guys not wear sleeves under the vest. They just went out there and played like they were tank tops. And some of them wore their hats backwards. I got a big kick out of that. I remember that happening. Yeah, that overall look wasn't my favorite. Vance makes an interesting point here. He says, I'm not anti-alternate jersey. I'm anti-City Connect alternate jersey. Here's the thing with the City Connects. I do think they try a little too hard. Like, it's neat to go and actually read, like, okay, the sleeve piping is meant to call to mind this part of our city's history. And there's wording on the collar that you'll never see that is a reference to this. And this color is a reference to something really city specific. And it's like, okay, that's great. But like, I'm not trying to read a Wikipedia article. I'm just trying to watch a baseball game, man. Like, does it look good as a baseball uniform? I don't care if it's a salute to like the city's favorite restaurant. Like, I don't, or a song that was written about the city one time. Does it look good on the field? I think the Royals will actually look good on the field because it's white. It's white on white with sleeve piping. That works. That's simple to me. That's not overdone, and I like simple. I don't like overdone, and I think the Royals have kept it pretty simple with their design, except, again, for the gradient on the hat, which I don't care for. So I don't think they're bad, honestly. I know, like, the gut instinct when a team rolls out a new uniform, if you don't immediately love it, is to say that it sucks. You got to go see it on the field. And if these Royals go out and they win 88 games in the Central and you get some, like, big Friday night walk-off wins at the K with the guys wearing that uniform, you'll love the uniform. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters. But I do. I think, like, some of them are better than others. I do want to say San Diego moving away from the clown outfits they were wearing, like the neon blue and teal and pink and yellow and that nonsense they were wearing that made them look ridiculous. They moved away from that, so good for them. There were a lot of teams that looked bad in theirs. Like Cincinnati had black on black. Baltimore had black on black. Now the Pirates are black on black. They're still black on black, I think. That doesn't work for me. Color on color that isn't white, gray, or powder blue looks ridiculous. You look like, save that for your, U10 travel team. Save that for softball. I don't need to see that. They're not an A+ for me. They're not an A+ by any means. I really thought their last ones, honestly, were better. But I think as these things go, they kept it simple enough. I think it'll look good on the field. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, Rick Peterson of TopSports.News joins us for an edition of the local sports spotlight. That was really dramatic. That's coming up next on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline by the great Rick Peterson of TopSports.News for the local sports spotlight. Pistol covers Washburn University athletics and Shawnee County High School sports at TopSports.News and joins us every Thursday at this time to talk about local sports. And today joins us from the Lynx Pistol. What are we watching today?
Watching the Washburn Rural Invitational at Wamego Country Club.
Who is the local presence out there today?
Quite a bit of a local presence. Washburn Rural, Hayden, Shawnee Heights. So yeah, we got quite a few to keep track of.
We'll look forward to reading your coverage over at TopSports.News following that tournament today. It's a bit of a long way from Augusta. They at least let you have your cell phone out there. I couldn't call you if you were there on the grounds of Augusta National. They take it from you.
I don't want to end up like Mark Calfuckia. So,
they threw an ex-champ off the course because he brought his cell phone. Oh, that was a hilarious story. Yeah, that they're not going to do you like that out there when we go Country Club, I don't think. Rick Peterson joining us for the local sports spotlight. Well, Pistol, we have our first couple of new basketball coaching hires to discuss. Shawnee Heights has chosen replacements for both Ken Darding and Bob Wells. We'll start with their boys basketball hire, a familiar name, Brandon McDonald. Last 4 years at Rossville, taking that program, which had not enjoyed a lot of success in the prior decade plus, to the state tournament in 2 consecutive years. He's a Topeka native. He's a Topeka High grad, very high concentration of former Trojans coaching in the city now. And I know he's going to be real proud to be back in the city and having an opportunity to take over a program with a lot of great recent tradition in Class 5A.
Yeah, and I've known him, I covered him in high school, of course, along with Nate Wallace and Robbie Sanders, and they're all very happy to be back in the city coaching, and Brandon was just really excited when I talked to him. He told me way back right after the season was over that it was going to take a special job to make him leave Rossville, and this is, and he is really excited about. He'll do a great job. And I think you got to see. You keep hearing rumors about transfers and all that. But if he gets the people back that he could get back, they're going to be good again.
Those Rossville teams that he coached like to run and gun. They could play fast. They could score big points. Do you expect we'll see Shawnee Heights play a similarly up-tempo style? If
the personnel lends itself to that, I sure think so, because I think he does like to get up and down the court, and I think they do. Potentially they have the personnel that can do that there for the T-Birds.
The Shawnee Heights girls basketball team also making a hire, and not just their girls basketball coach, but their new volleyball coach also announced. Former Washburn-Ichabod women's basketball player Katie Glassick, who'd been the head coach of Royal Valley Volleyball and an assistant coach for their girls basketball program, takes the reins of both of those perennially successful programs at Shawnee Heights. A young coach, certainly. What do you expect that Katie's going to bring to that basketball sideline there at Shawnee Heights, taking over a team that will have high expectations next year?
Well, she's just 26 years old, 4 years out of her college career at Washburn, but she's been surrounded by coaches her whole life.
Right.
Her dad's a very, very successful coach. Her brother Michael's a very, very successful coach. Her mom's been a long-time coach. So I don't think she's going to be intimidated by anything that comes up in her first couple of years. And like I said, she must have a lot of confidence, because, some people would shy away from trying to do both sports your very first, year at a school, but she jumped on that. So I think she's going to do great.
And I know that there have been success stories with coaches, certainly handling multiple sports. Bill Arnold, football and baseball at Hayden, has won state titles in both sports. And I'm not meaning to leave names out, but it's just such a long list of coaches that have done well as multi-sport coaches. What's sort of the commonality that you found over the years with those coaches who are able to handle multiple sports in different seasons and have success in both of those programs that you think that Katie could potentially bring to those programs at Shawnee Heights?
Well, Kevin Bordewick has 10 10 state titles.
Yeah, I could have led with him, really.
in two different sports. And what we always talked about was, hey, and it does help when you have a lot of the same athletes.
Oh, sure.
And I think Katie will, and of course Borderwick always has, and I think that helps. But you just continue what you've done. You just kind of slide on into it. You worry a little bit about if you have any overlap in the seasons, but no, I think it's if you just have the mindset that it's just coaching. I think you can do it. But like I said, you talked about Bill, who's got state titles in both sports, and Borderwick's got a ton of titles in both sports. So I think it's definitely doable. And I think it wasn't a rarity at the smaller schools. It's just a little bit more of a rarity at the bigger schools. But, I just don't think we have as many available coaches as we used to. You used to have a big marquee job and you'd have 80 people trying for it. I just don't think you have that anymore. So if you got a good coach and they're willing to do two sports, you do it.
What do you sense is the timeline for some of the other job openings in the city? We know that Topeka High girls is an open position. Seaman boys is an open position. Highland Park is a recently open position with the resignation of Rob Brown. Do you sense that there will also be, in fairly short order, hires made to fill those vacancies, or are maybe those programs working under a bit of a different timeline?
No, I think there needs to be. You need to hurry, because summer now is so important that you got to have somebody in place before you break for summer. So, and I know we're only in April, but it'll be May before you know it. And I know Seaman has already interviewed, and I think they'll have a coach here. Oh, I'd say maybe within a week. I haven't talked to Dustin Dick at Topeka High, but I'm sure they're working on it too. And I don't know anything about Highland Park. That one surprised me, so I'm still kind of trying to get reins on that one. But yeah, I think they need to. It needs to be a priority.
We're talking to Rick Peterson of TopSports.News. This is the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. We do it every Thursday at this time. On the fields of play, the various fields of play in the spring high school season, two distance runners to watch at Seaman High School. Ryan Miller and Brody Anderson both getting their seasons kind of rolling. And for Ryan Miller, it's a chance to get back out onto the track after what I know was the disappointment of not being herself and dealing with an injury during cross country and then having to miss all of basketball as well. So there's that storyline, and also the storyline of Brody Anderson, who's been terrific in cross country and is one of the best distance runners in the area, trying to continue to level up and finish on a high note his senior year as well.
Yeah, first on Ryan, she's just going to have to take baby steps. And we talked quite a bit after her season debut at Rural the other night, and she felt good after that race. That was right after the race, so hopefully she felt good the next day and next couple of days. But she just needs to ease in, and because I don't think you have to worry about her ability. You just got to keep her healthy, but she was just really excited and really, really thankful and really happy to be back out on the track last Thursday. And then Brody's he's just kicking rear and taking names. I mean, he shattered the Seaman School record in I still call it the mile, but 1600 in 6 seconds, and that's hard to do because they've had some really good distance runners there. So he's he's in mid-season form already, and just loves to run, and they're both going to be good, come state time, I think.
Wrapping up with Rick Peterson of TopSports.News here on the local sports spotlight. On the Washburn athletics front, big news, great news, welcome news for Washburn men's basketball. The announced return of Jack Batchelor for his senior season. There was some thought that he might, like his former teammates Dylan Clausen and Jeremiah Jones, consider the transfer portal, but he is staying in Topeka, the hometown kid, back for his senior year. How much does that help, not just next year's Washburn team having his presence at point guard, but how much does that help Brett Ballard and the coaching staff in the process of recruiting some players through the transfer portal this year to say, hey, you come play with the best point guard in America?
Yeah, and that's true, and I'm a really big Tyson Root fan too, and he's coming back. So both those guys, they're used to the program, like you said. Jack's as good as any point guard around, and he's a 4-year player, which is kind of a rarity now, Dan. But he's a 4-year player. I probably didn't know what I was talking about. I told everybody to listen that I never thought he was going to leave, but like I said, I'm hearing now that he might have had some offers on the table, but he's a Topeka kid, and I just thought he takes a lot of pride in being a Topeka kid and playing for a Topeka team. So I thought when it came down to that's what would keep him home.
And lastly, Pistol, the Washburn football spring game is tomorrow night, and it's not a game in terms of it being an intra-squad scrimmage. They're actually playing a game. They're playing William Jewell in their spring game tomorrow night. I don't know how much you've had a chance to talk with Zach Watkins, but what's sort of the anticipation? What will you be keeping an eye on with regards to what Washburn rolls out for the spring game?
Well, I'm really excited to go out there tomorrow because Zach, when I talked to Zach last week, he was just really excited. They got some really good transfers in, and they lost some kids, but they also got some really good transfers in. They got another local kid, J.C. Heim, who's as good as a linebacker as you're going to find at Division II, and you got some kids to build on. They just know it's time to make a big jump. I think we'll know a lot more after. Like I said, I'm just excited to see him.
Rick Peterson covers Washburn University athletics and Shawnee County High School sports at TopSports.News and joins us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline every Thursday at this time for the local sports spotlight. Pistol, is always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Look forward to it.
That is Rick Peterson. We'll take a timeout, come back, put a bow on this 3 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. Wrapping up this 3 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. Our thanks again to Rick Peterson of TopSports.News for joining us while on location at the Wamego Country Club, the Washburn Rural Invitational today. He'll have coverage of that at TopSports.News. Mentioned the Washburn football spring game. That's tomorrow night out at Yager Stadium. If the weather cooperates. If it doesn't, I think they're going to move it inside. They're gonna get some practice in. They're gonna get this thing in one way or another. Hopefully the weather holds up. We're gonna try and get Zach Watkins, head coach of the Washburn football team, on the program with us tomorrow for a spring game preview for Washburn football. That again coming up tomorrow night. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour of this program, got another great guest lined up for you. CJ Moore of The Athletic, the best college basketball writer in America. The guy who told you Michigan was number 1 in November and told you they were going to win the national title when the bracket came out. And if you listened to him, you probably won some money. And if you were dope like me and you didn't, then you probably didn't win any money. But anyhow, regardless of how good or not CJ was to your pocketbook, we're going to get his take on the Final Four. He had a chance to go to Indianapolis and cover it, so we'll get his insight on that. Look ahead to the transfer portal, what KU, K-State will be looking for in the portal, where prominent transfers might be looking to go. There's one big name that had a connection to Kansas already off the list as far as big men go, and that may also impact where another big name with a connection to Kansas winds up. Former Jayhawk at that. So we'll talk about all that with CJ Moore, plus an AFC West vibe check 2 weeks out of the NFL draft, and what is wrong with you coming up as well. Plus your text at 785-272-9429 and your interactions on the YouTube channel 580 Sports Talk. It's all coming up on WIBW. Let's get it. Hour number 2, 580 Sports Talk. On this Thursday, Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis hanging out with you on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. We are with you until 6 o'clock today. We'll hand it off to the Royals Baseball Network right at the top of that 6 o'clock hour. Royals and White Sox, game 1 of 4 in this AL Central Division Series at the K. First pitch tonight is scheduled for 6:40. So again, 6 o'clock pregame coverage. Seth Lugo, Anthony K, your starting pitching matchup. We'll get more into the Royals a little bit later on in the program. We got headlines, including a Masters update to give you today. I got the Masters on right now. It's got, you know how it goes. One guy hits a bad tee shot into a hole, and everybody in the group hits a bad tee shot. Nobody hits a good tee shot. The vibes are just wonky in the tee box. You and your big group go up to the par 3, and the first guy sprays his. Nobody's hitting the green, right? That's how it goes. Well, that's how it went for Gary Woodland's group at 12. Big Bobby Mack yanked his over the green. G-Dub hit his fat. He ended up in the bunker in front of the green, and Scheffler missed the green. Scotty Scheffler. So everybody having to scramble on the final hole on the infamous Amen corner of the par 12 at the Masters. Can tell you that your co-leaders in the clubhouse 5 under are Rory McIlroy and Sam Burns. Gary Woodland was 3 under at the turn, but bogeyed 10. And we'll try and save par at the 12th stand shot. It looked like he'll leave himself with something makeable for his par. We'll keep you posted on what's going on at Augusta as we go along here on the show. Also, later on this hour, we got the great CJ Moore joining us from The Athletic. He's the best college basketball writer in America. He's going to help us put a bow on the college basketball season that was 2025-2026. Look ahead to the transfer portal. He and the rest of the staff of The Athletic have their top transfer portal player rankings. The top 30 players in the portal ranked that came out earlier today. CJ also had tremendous stuff, as always, throughout the tournament, including a walk from Lucas Oil Stadium back to the team hotel with the winning head coach of the national championship, Dusty May. And you're just not getting that perspective from just some guy. You're getting that perspective from the best college basketball writer in America, CJ Moore. So we're going to ask you about that and talk some college hoops with CJ at the bottom of this hour. Got what is wrong with you. We're going to talk a little football here. Taking a look at the AFC West, where things stand there 2 weeks ahead of the NFL draft. You are invited and encouraged to be a part of the show today. We want to hear from you. The text line is 785-272-9429, 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the chat on our live YouTube channel. 580 Sports Talk is the name of that channel. If you're watching the show, hop on in. Make yourself heard. Say hi. Interact with your fellow listeners. Grow the 580 Sports Talk community on our YouTube chat. Again, the name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Who wants $1,000? Spencer, you want $1,000?
Yes,
You can't
I
have,
do.
You can't have $1,000. I can't give this $1,000 to you. I can't give this $1,000 to anybody. I'm not in control of who wins $1,000.
No, but you could as a listener.
You could, as a listener, win the $1,000, unless you're related to one of us. In which case, no, you can't actually win the $1,000. That's always a tough thing to explain to, like a girlfriend or now my wife and my wife's family. No, sorry, you can't win one of these deals. Anyway, you can though, probably because percentage-wise, chances are you are not related to myself or Spencer or Brendan, and you can win the $1,000 in our Win 1K a Day sweepstakes. But to do that, what you're going to have to do is text this keyword to 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. Andrew says I could donate $1,000 to Spencer from my bank account. Andrew, I got a 2-year-old. It's funny you think I have any money. It's funny you think I've got any money to my name. You know what daycare costs, brother? A lot. Anyhow, you, though, could win this $1,000. And this hour's keyword. Text this keyword to 785-272-9429. The keyword is like. 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 L-I-K-E. Like is the keyword. Like. So text like, L-I-K-E, 785-272-9429. And I want to urge people. So when you text the keyword and nothing else, which we direct you to do, your text ends up basically in a bucket. We have a setting where all those texts filter in, so we know who is texted, and you text one time, and you get in to our little bucket, if you will, the repository of people who have responded and gotten themselves registered this hour to win. The keyword is only good for this hour, so don't text like at like 5:15. They're not going to do you any good. Text the keyword between now and 5 o'clock, and the keyword this hour is like, 785-272-9429. Please make sure that you check your text for typos, because we catch it if it's the right word. If it's the wrong word, we can't help you. Last hour, the keyword was cat. Somebody texted cat or car. That's wrong. Somebody texted tat. That's wrong.
Wow.
So check your keyword and make sure that you get it right. Don't get fat fingered. Don't get auto-corrected on this. And don't put anything else in the text. Just the word. L-I-K-E. Like. Text like to 785-272-9429. Then you're registered for your chance to win $1,000 from your friends at 580 WIBW. Spencer, I'm going to talk about the AFC West here in a bit, but yeah. I owe you an apology. I might owe you an apology first. I got to put this to the listeners. This is real important. This is as important to me as you all texting the word like to 272-9429. I need you to also text me. You just got a text from the 913 that says light, L-I-T-E, like the beer. I'm saying that out loud, not to humiliate our texter, who I appreciate very much. I just want to let you know you made a typo, and that's not going to get you registered. So L-I-K-E is the word. Anyhow, I want to help you. I'm helping. I hope I'm helping people. But I want you to text this to 785-272-9429, because we had this conversation late in the show yesterday, and now we have to come back around to it because I might have been being gaslit my whole life. But do y'all put egg in your potato salad? Because we were having a discussion yesterday about egg salad, and Spencer proclaimed that he was not an egg salad fan because he doesn't particularly like hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah.
And then the question came back, so wait a second. Does that mean you don't enjoy potato salad? Because the potato salad that I'm aware of, potato salad that our texter who asked the question was aware of, is has eggs in it. And you said, well, yeah, I do like potato salad, but I didn't know that there was egg in potato salad. And that blew my mind a little bit until I talked to my wife last night, and she said, well, wait a second. Is there egg in all potato salad? I said, all good potato salad, all potato salad I'm aware of. She asked me about the potato salad at a certain deli, a chain deli in town that is famous for its sweet tea. No free advertising. She asked me about the potato salad there, which is good as hell, by the way. Famous for their sweet tea, also good as hell potato salad. But again, no free advertising. And I thought to myself, well, wait a minute. Like, I can picture myself, I always get potato salad with my sandwich at this place, but I don't know if it has egg in it or not. I tried to go Google the ingredients. It said something about an egg dressing, but it did not say specifically there was egg in it. So there is a chance here, Spencer, that egg in the potato salad is more of a regional thing, and perhaps it is true that you grew up in an area, in a region, where people don't put egg in the potato salad, which is messed up. I don't know what y'all are doing with not putting egg in the potato salad, but maybe that's what it is. So I am dying to know. Please text the program, 785-272-9429. Do you put egg in the potato salad? Do you associate potato salad as having egg in it, or am I messed up? Am I the one that's been eating the good potato salad and y'all have been eating potato salad without egg in it? Because my wife was all crossed up about this, and it made me think, okay, well, maybe Spencer's right. Like, maybe Spencer really hasn't had a lot of potato salad that had egg in it. Because I'm pretty sure egg goes in potato salad. I was positive. And I'm about to, when we're done on the show today, I'm about to go around town and like order a side of potato salad everywhere I can think to go find and order potato salad and see if they got eggs. All right, we're starting to get some responses in from the 785. Yes, egg in the potato salad, the more the better. Another one from the 785. Yes, with egg. Mark H says potato salad always has egg in it. Our guy David
That's not true.
says egg salad, potato salad, put them together. Andrew, very finely chopped egg. Very finely chopped. He wants them unrecognizable as egg. Another one from the 785. Yes, egg belongs to potato salad. Okay, I'm feeling a lot better now. I'm feeling a lot better.
I think this is a regional thing.
Okay, here we go. Here's one from the 785. White/Amish potato salad can be made without egg. So this tracks with, so when I Googled it, I Googled it last night. This is how screwed up I was after having this conversation with you and then talking to my wife about it. And apparently it's a Southern thing. Its genesis is more Southern to put egg in the potato salad. It's more of a Southern thing.
That makes sense.
From the 785. Yes, eggs and potato salad.
I'm telling you, I've eaten potato salad, doesn't have eggs, and it's great.
I believe you about having eaten eggs with potato salad without eggs. I don't believe you that it's great. I think the egg is a very important feature of the potato salad. Personally.
Potatoes, onion and celery, mayonnaise and sour cream, mustard, and maybe apple cider vinegar.
Okay. That's is that like a northern, so the Virginia
classic
thing?
Potato salad. That's a recipe.
Another one from the 785. Yes, I put eggs in the potato salad. Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't being mean to you, Spen. That's the biggest thing here. I didn't want to come on here and feel like, man, did I gaslight Spencer into thinking he's been eating eggs his whole life in potato salad when really he maybe isn't? Here's one from the 785. Either way is good. So this is somebody who is familiar, who has had it both ways and say, you know what? I can do it with eggs. I can do it without eggs. It's not a star player in the potato salad. It's more of a complementary player in the potato salad is the suggestion there, which I can deal with. Like I said, I'm not a big hard-boiled, like my wife will eat hard-boiled eggs. I'm not a big hard-boiled egg guy, but I do love deviled eggs, which is something I recently found out about myself. So like, and I've always liked eggs in the potato salad, but now like I genuinely am going to need to go to all of the places in town where I have ordered potato salad and ask them, like, y'all put an egg in here, right?
Can I make a proclamation kind of on the radio?
By all means.
If you are a business in this town that sells food and put eggs in your potato salad, bring them to the station. I will try them.
Okay. You will try it. You're not opposed.
Apparently everybody eats it this way. So I'll try it if a company brings me their potato salad to the station.
Hey, listen, I would absolutely do it. Text from the 785, deviled eggs with mayo or Miracle Whip. I prefer Miracle Whip. To be honest with you, I am more of a mayo person than a Miracle Whip person, but we always have both in the house. My wife, I think, leans Miracle Whip, but I am more of a mayo guy than a Miracle Whip guy. That's not one of those, like there are some like food arguments, like we've like had shouting matches over on the history of this program. I'm not going to get into a shouting match over mayo or Miracle Whip. We're not going to do that, but I'm team mayo. I'm team mayo. I know some people who think mayo is like our guy Brendan hates mayonnaise, hates it. I think he's wrong. I think mayo can be a key performer.
He's in the other studio talking to 94.5's Brit Z.
Yes,
and
former producer of the show.
They're listening. They're listening to the segment.
I'm glad.
He's going off on it.
Tell Brendan to get in here and put a headset on real quick, and he can defend himself. He's always welcome. Andrew asked if I've ever tried deep-fried deviled eggs. I have not. That sounds like something that would be very dangerous for me.
All right, we need to stop because I am starving.
Okay.
I could devour some potato salad right now, if with or without eggs.
Yeah, we might be going to that sweet tea forward deli I was talking about and have to order some potato salad. Just get a side of potato salad. I'm going to come home with like 5 different sides of potato salad. My wife to be like, wait, it's 6:45, Dan. Where you been? I've been running around getting this potato salad, doing some field testing here. Got to do some research.
And this concludes 580 Potato Salad Talk.
This has been 580 Potato Salad Talk. I don't know if you saw this today. The Kansas City Chiefs hosted Ruben Bain for a top 30 visit.
Interesting.
So I continue to be of the mind, if I'm trying to predict what direction the Chiefs are going to go in the draft, I think it is Bain or Bailey or bust at number 9. I think they want one of those edge rushers. I'm not convinced that they'll trade up necessarily if they still really like Carnell Tate. Like, they've got voids to fill. Maybe they really like Mansour Delane, like we were talking about yesterday. But I just can't shake the thought that this team knows they have not impacted the quarterback enough the last 2 years. The sack numbers have not been good enough, and they need some juice on the edge because they could not get to the quarterback last year if Chris Jones didn't win a one-on-one or beat a double team. I just didn't work. Their blitzes weren't getting home as effectively. It all stems from the fact that they just did not have enough juice off the edge. And they've got two guys that I think are going to give you juice from day one. And if one or both of them is there at number 9, I think that's the pick. I think that is priority number 1 for the Chiefs, and bringing in Bain, who they already had a meeting with at the Combine. He had already said he spoke with the Chiefs at the Combine. They brought him back in for a top 30. I know you feel like, well, there's a lot of gamesmanship here. You don't want to telegraph who it is you're going to draft. I think there's a lot of interest. I think there's a lot of mutual interest there. I think if Bain were there at 9, I don't think the Chiefs would hesitate.
Heck no, they'd do it in a heartbeat. I think if Ruben Bain was there, I think they'd run to put the card in.
I do too. I really do believe. I think they do the same with Bailey, to be honest with you. I really do. I don't know that Bailey is anything more than a pass rusher. He might not be like the kind of 3-down defensive end that Steve Spagnuolo really likes, but if he can be a double-digit sack guy, who cares? Fine, play Ashton Gelati on a bunch of first downs and have him set an edge. Great. When it's 3rd and long, I want David Bailey out there. I want a dude who's going to get to the quarterback and take him down. The rest of the AFC West. So we're 2 weeks out of the draft, right? 2 weeks out of the draft. And it's an interesting time to kind of check in on where the rest of the AFC West stands. This is a division that had 2 playoff teams last year, had 3 playoff teams the season before. Chargers and Broncos have been to the playoffs back-to-back years. It's amazing. They quit messing around with analytics dorks in Los Angeles and dudes who were in, coordinators who were in over their heads in Denver, and they hired real winning football coaches, and they have real winning football teams as a result. Amazing what happens when you just go get a good football coach. Obviously, Las Vegas is miles away yet, but I think the most interesting thing for me with Vegas this year isn't just like what's Mendoza going to be when they draft him number 1, like how long is it going to take him to start? What does he look like in year 1? Like, is he going to be throwing to plumbers because they've got no good wide receivers on that roster? They got good tight ends. They got 1 elite tight end, and I think Michael Mayer's still good. I'm really fascinated to see what Ashton Genty looks like in a Clint Kubiak run game scheme. Because you just saw what happened to Kenneth Walker in 1 season in a Clint Kubiak scheme. He got himself a Super Bowl MVP, and he got himself paid. Genty was an even higher draft pick than Kenneth Walker was, top 5 pick. I want to see what that looks like. Now, they got to get the offensive line put together that can, block and open up the holes. They signed Tyler Linderbaum, but the rest of that offensive line still isn't quite good enough. They'll be a little more credible on defense, but they got a long way to go. Like, Vegas is not thinking playoffs, and they probably shouldn't be. They're probably, you can build it pretty quick, especially if they hit on Mendoza, if he's really that guy. They can probably think playoffs as soon as next year in a perfect world, but they're a ways off. They're not thinking that yet. The Chargers obviously just need to get healthier up front. They lost a lot of juice on the defensive line, but right now, as their roster stands, they already feel good enough to blow another first-round playoff game. They feel good enough to get there and lose again because the light's too bright for Justin Herbert again for the umpteenth time. I don't think there's a more frustrating quarterback situation maybe than the one the Chargers have. Because Justin Herbert is manifestly really good and manifestly does not seem to have the juice in the big games. Like, I know that's meathead thought process to think that, oh, well, he's bad. He was bad in one big game. He's going to be bad in big games forever. That's not usually how it works. Generally speaking, if you're good enough to keep playing in those kinds of games, eventually I don't know, man. I've seen the movies. I'm not impressed. It's not that he's played great in those games and lost because of things that were out of his control. He's been the reason they get beat. But the rest of that Chargers team should probably be good enough. They don't have a lot of draft picks this year. That's what's interesting about the rest of the AFC West, the playoff teams. The Chargers only have 5 picks. The Broncos traded their first-round pick. They already traded their first-round pick. They went and got Jalen Waddle. That's all they've done. The rest of their team is basically the same, which, run it back with a 15-win team. Thumbs up, right? Well, it wasn't really a 15-win team. Like the advanced metrics, the record in one-score games, under the hood, that was not really a 15-win team. We all know that. So what kind of return are you hoping to get where you just run it back? You're betting big on a step forward from Bo Nix that I'm not really convinced is there. Even if Nix is like a top 15 guy in the league, like an above average starter, which I think, given his record, he's shown that, like, at his best, I think he is. But if it's not a whole lot better than that, then are the Broncos going to be a whole lot better? So that's kind of their question. And again, they don't have a first round pick. They don't pick till number 62 overall. So the Chiefs, I think, find themselves in a position where obviously their number one concern is how soon are we going to get our all-everything quarterback back. But they've got a chance to add the kind of high-end lacking at positions where they've been lacking it specifically. They've still got Patrick Mahomes. They're still coached by Andy Reid. They addressed their biggest weakness in the offseason with Kenneth Walker. Added some veteran juice to their secondary. I still think if you're the Chiefs, you feel better about your spot than, I'm not saying you don't have any confidence in the Chargers and the Broncos, but I think you feel good about what it can be for the Chiefs, more so than you feel about what it can be for the Chargers and the Broncos, because the Chargers just don't have the big game juice, and the Broncos, I think, they're too limited at quarterback to really make it shake.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about, where those teams stand as we are now 2 weeks away, an even 2 weeks, 2 Thursdays from today, round 1 of the NFL draft in Pittsburgh. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, got our 580 Sports Talk. What is wrong with you? And then CJ Moore is going to join us on 580 WIBW. What is wrong with you? Time on 580 Sports Talk. 2 news stories competing today, trying to take down the Gator Boys, our current weekly champion. The two 50-something men who saw a dead alligator on the side of the road in Orlando and thought, hey, we can put this on the roof of our car. Maybe take it home, get it stuffed. Yeah, you can't do that. You cannot actually do that. They did. They got arrested, charged with illegal killing, possessing, or capturing of alligators or other crocodilia or eggs. Can't do it. Cannot just decide that you own that alligator carcass. 2 news stories. Spencer, you go first.
All right, we're going to go to Miami. A Miami man was arrested Monday afternoon after he rammed a parked vehicle during a traffic stop, injured a detective, fled through several city streets, committing multiple traffic violations, and ultimately crashed his truck into a tree before being caught on foot. Was David Mejia, 34, was taken into custody at approximately 4:30. According to the arrest report, Miami police detectives working a violent crime detail spotted them driving a 2025 Ford F-150 without a seatbelt and attempted a traffic stop in the city. When a detective approached the vehicle and asked for his license, he repeatedly said, "Don't do me like that."
I understand.
And kept his hands on the gear shift. Notably, the detective told him he had stopped him. He had stopped him before, to which he replied, "Yeah, I remember you." He then revved his engine aggressively for an extended period of time before suddenly throwing the truck into reverse and ramming into the unoccupied parked vehicle at a church. According to the arrest report, the impact forced the detective to backpedal into the curb, injuring his right foot.
Oh, so he rolled his ankle, basically. Yeah, he got curved. He rolled his ankle. The guy didn't hit him, thankfully.
Yeah, then he sped away northbound, running multiple stop signs, driving through wrong-way streets in oncoming traffic, forcing drivers to brake suddenly to avoid collisions. The chase ended when he crashed into a tree, disabling the truck. He fled on foot through a grassy area and attempted to jump a metal fence before being caught after a brief chase. While being taken into custody, he tensed his arms and pinned his hands beneath his body, requiring the officers to physically struggle to place him in handcuffs.
Gave those people a really hard day.
Yeah.
Sounds like faces a lot of different charges.
So many.
For my story today, here is the 580 Sports Talk What is Wrong with You guarantee. The words horse semen are in the headline. It's probably going to wind up on What is Wrong with You. We actually had a texter suggest this story. I had found it independently, but shout out to the texter who texted the program and suggested this story. A callous fraudster who swindled thousands of pounds from a grieving family. This is overseas. This is in England. After being entrusted to manage a loved one's estate, boasted that he could do whatever he wanted as the executor of the will. 61-year-old Peter Littler was appointed executor of Joseph Webster's will, a role that should have seen him distribute the late man's 166,000-pound inheritance fairly amongst his children and grandchildren. Instead, he kept it for himself. He transferred the funds directly into his own bank account, ignored repeated requests from the family to hand it over. He sent money to a family member who was caring for her child who had cancer. Aw, philanthropic. He also spent 3,000 pounds on a 60th birthday party for himself and 2,000 pounds on semen from an Olympic racehorse. He did not inform his family members he was spending their inheritance after being trusted to act as the executor for their father's estate, and told one of the beneficiaries, quote, "I can do what I want as executor of the will." Well, no.
No. That's not how that works, sir.
I think that is not how it works. Anyway, he is going to prison. He pled guilty and was sentenced last week at Preston Crown Court to 40 months in prison for his crimes. Yeah, just hundreds. Man, that's quite a racket. I'm going to get the executor of a will business. I'm just going to take their money. I'm just going to keep whatever was in the inheritance. I'm going to buy some horse juice. Not just any horse, an Olympic horse, an Olympic racehorse. That's an investment. You're not buying the winning horse. You're expecting that he's going to produce some more winners along the line, is what you're thinking. Anyhow, who we got today? I think we got to go with the swindler here.
Yeah.
One, swindler's a great story. And number two, Yeah, man, he bought horse juice and spent money on a birthday party for himself, which is wild.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like 60 is a little too old to be spending your own money on a birthday party. Somebody else got to spend that money for you. Does that be the Gator Boys? I still kind of like the idea of these two morons just strapping a gator to the roof of their car and driving.
Oh, nothing's bad. We're just put this roof. Yeah. I think that still wins.
You think anybody will notice?
Yeah.
The Gator Boys continue as our What Is Wrong With You chance. When we come back, we're talking college hoops with CJ Moore of The Athletic on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by CJ Moore, college basketball writer at The Athletic, the best college basketball writer in the country. He joins us here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline on 580 Sports Talk. And CJ, to begin, give you a chance for a little victory lap here. You said Michigan was going to win the NCAA tournament. You had them as your number one team in November. It must feel good to be that correct.
Everybody gets lucky every once in a while, but
well, what did you see or what did you feel in November? I guess again, chance to pat yourself on the back. What were you most correct about when it came to Michigan? What was the factor that you foresaw in them back in November that ultimately did make them the best team in the country this year?
Well, I think a lot of people were skeptical of how they could play three bigs together at the same time. I mean, the last coach that we had heard a year before that talk about playing three bigs together was Jerome Tang at K-State. And we know that it never really materialized. Like, he never really did it. And that didn't go so hot. So, there were questions about fit, questions about trying to get those guys on the floor enough. And I think, I was able to watch both their exhibition games, and I was already really high on Michigan, and they actually lost one of those to Cincinnati. But I think Adai didn't play in that game, and maybe Yaxel didn't play either. I think they were missing two of their bigs. I can't remember which two. But then all three of them played in the St. John's game, and they ended up winning that, I think, in overtime I believe it was at Madison Square Garden in the preseason. And after watching that game and kind of watching how it all came together, I thought they had a chance to be really, really special.
and I'm a believer in Dusty. I first profiled him the year they went to the Final Four, but a couple months ahead of that, and became a fan right away, and really really impressed with just his perspective and how he coached his teams and how that team played. Like watching that team on video, I was like, wow, these guys really have a chance to do something. I don't know if I expected the Final Four, but so been a believer in him. Last year, I thought he did a really nice job in his first year, and I just kind of liked how that roster came together. I was a big Adai Mara fan. I thought he was totally misused and not given as much of a chance as he should have had at UCLA. And yeah, it basically, my vision for what I thought they could be came together perfectly. And, all the credit to Dusty and his staff. They did an awesome job.
You mentioned that your relationship with Dusty May goes back to having met him and profiled him when he was the head coach at Florida Atlantic. And I guess it shouldn't be surprising in the end that a coach that could take what was a program was just about nothing at Florida Atlantic and turn it into something in the Final Four. Mm-hmm. Once given something, he turned it into everything. He turned it into a national championship at Michigan. But what were the traits in Dusty May that were visible as a coach in that Final Four run at Florida Atlantic that have maybe been multiplied or been sharpened with the resources? Right now, he stands atop the sport. Looks like he might be the best coach in the sport.
Yeah, I think, one is his ability to form relationships with his players. Remember, the portal era had begun when he made the Final Four with FAU, and all of those dudes came back to FAU. Most cases a run like that happens, and in this era, even if let's say a mid-major team were to go to the Sweet 16 right now, all those guys would be gone. They would all take bigger paydays, and we've seen what those guys could become too. Elijah Martin won a national championship with Florida. Gosh, my guy left Nick Boyd at Wisconsin this year. At the end of the season, he was playing like an All-American, and was awesome. And the fact that he was able to bring those guys back, I think you could tell right away his demeanor. And I wrote this at the time, was Brad Stevens-esque on the sideline. And then just watching them and how they played, and offensively, you could tell, is at a really, really high level. He got the most out of those guys defensively, even though they were small. They battled, they really competed. And I always come away impressed with coaches that aren't yellers and screamers, but get their guys to play really, really hard. I think it's, you can do that. It's capable. Guys that can do that is a special thing. And so anyway, I just, I thought he was the full package, and we've been able to see that at Michigan.
CJ Moore of The Athletic joining us here on 580 Sports Talk, talking some college basketball, a bit of a season post-mortem, and a look ahead to the transfer portal, which officially opened the day after the national championship game. You had a good bit of color in your piece following the Final Four, talking about the walk from the arena, the Dome, to the team hotel with Dusty May, and he's got his nose in his phone for much of the walk, and some of that had to do certainly with the transfer portal opens up in less than an hour at that point. I know Danny Hurley made a similar reference in his post-game press conference. Hey, portal's about to open up. I got to go. So this really never. First, do you think he's going to stay in college? And number two, into their program, try and develop him further as an offensive piece. What's sort of the vision for Flory, and what could benefit him if he does stay one more year in the college game?
I do think he'll end up coming back to school because, frankly, he'll probably get more money. to play college basketball next year than he'd get in the NBA if he were to get drafted. He's projected to go somewhere in the second round. He's going to be, probably one of the highest paid guys in college basketball next season. So, I do think he'll be back. I do think wherever he goes, he'll play pretty similarly to how he played at Kansas, especially on the defensive end, being switchable. He's such a valuable defender because of his ability to guard all 5 spots and protect the rim. Offensively, maybe he expands his game a little bit more. He showed the ability to kind of like handle it and get to the basket and drive past some guys. I could see him doing a bit more in terms of, kind of being a hub on the perimeter where he can pass it a little bit more than he did at Kansas. He showed some of that, but maybe not a ton. He's never going to be a guy that like scores a ton with his back to the basket, but he's an excellent, rim roller and those sorts of things. So, maybe he'll do a little bit more than he did at KU, but I think he'll be used probably pretty similar.
There was some early rumor mongering that had Michigan as a player in Flory, or are they going to maybe have to rebuild more of that front court with Ademar maybe being a lottery pick that goes to the pros?
Yeah, it'll depend on what Adai and Perez Johnson do, and if they got one of those guys back, then I think they're being mostly set as far as their bigs go. But if both those young men, decide to go to the NBA, then I'm sure they'll be looking for another startable big guy, and Flory could be one of the guys they continue to look at.
I enjoyed reading your way too early top 25, and a theme emerged. I was reading your profiles of these teams that you rank in your premature top 25 for next season. There were a lot of teams about whom you wrote some variation of a theme. Well, they need a point guard, and it's a lot of teams, high-level teams need a point guard. Probably more high-level teams need a point guard usually than there are real high-level point guards. Who are the guys at that position that you view as spot?
Oh man, that's a good question. I'm still trying to get my bearings on all this. But
sure.
Let me look through here. John Blackwell will be one of the highest rated guys. He can play both guard positions, but he's been at Wisconsin, really, really good. Rob Wright is going to be one of those guys that's going to demand a high dollar. Jackson Shelstead from Oregon, really, really good guard who, they didn't have a great season, but he's a guy that I think he was a 5-star when he was coming out of high school. Has had a couple of good years at Oregon. Those are some of the names that, pop right off the bat. Caden Mingo from Penn State, Marcus Burton at Notre Dame. I watched a kid today Derek Dixon from North Carolina is really, really solid. Like he'd be a solid get for whoever lands him. I watched Chance Autry today, a kid from UAB who's 6'6", but might be the best passer, I think, in the portal, and can't shoot, but can really, really pass, and he's 6'6", so he'll be an interesting one. So there's guys out there. Jalen Petty at Texas Tech, he played more like kind of a 2-guard this year, but that's because Christian Anderson was at the point. He's another one that
Jay Moore of The Athletic joining us here on the Flowing Place Wine and Spirits Hotline on scholarship players. That's if you count all 4 of their freshman signees as it currently stands. So obviously a lot of needs to fill on the roster for head coach Bill Self. What is the most important, in your opinion? What's job one that Kansas has to go and get? And let's live in a world for a moment when we discuss this. Let's live in a world where Tyron Stokes commits to Kansas. If they're able to get the number 1 high school player and put him on the wing to go with Talon Kinney and they maintain Cole Rosario, What to you is the A1 biggest thing Kansas has to come out of the portal with an impact player, a difference maker?
I'd say an impact big man. Somebody that they can throw in there and be a no-brainer starter. Stokes is a guy that could play the 3 or the 4. You could potentially, I think you want at least 2 starter level guys out of the portal, at least.
Bigger than they have been. Flory Badunga was their starting center and 6'10", but you can almost use finger quotes around that 6'10". We just saw teams with giants on the court playing in the Final Four, 7'2", 7'3", the supersized front court that Michigan rolled out there. With the game trending back towards size and Bill Self's track record of success with big men, do you think Kansas has to go out and get, if not just one, maybe multiple guys who are 6'11", 7 foot, and can play that big physical inside game where we saw a lot of the elite teams in the country playing this year?
Yeah, I think they'd be best suited to do that and have Stokes at the 3, but also lineups where he could play the 4. So that's where Michigan was so good. Is they had 2 really really good bigs on the floor at the same time all the time, and sometimes 3 when they went with Yaxel at the 3 or even Will Cheddar at the 3. So that works. You saw with Arizona, they were really really big. You want depth inside. Because you can't really take charges anymore, the best teams are able to protect the paint with rim protection. So having length is really, really important.
Last one for you real quick, CJ. Michael Malone is the new head coach at the University of North Carolina, hire that caught a lot of people by surprise. I'm a Denver Nuggets fan, so I will always have a soft spot in my heart for Michael Malone. How do you think he'll translate to the college level?
It's so hard to say. Like, I think that, we've seen some coaches like Kevin Young at BYU be able to come and have immediate success. And, it's different now since it is kind of a pro model where you're, paying guys to come to school and, maybe deep recruiting connections don't matter as much as they used to. But it'll be an adjustment getting used to the college game. It's a different game. I never like to really judge a hire until, they get a coach 2 or 3 years. But this is one that, they're not winning the press conference, I don't think, by hiring Michael Malone. So we'll see how it goes. But, they definitely – their top 2 targets, I think, were Dusty and Tommy Lloyd. And when they missed, it felt like a little bit of a panic hire, but we'll see how it goes.
CJ Moore covers college basketball at The Athletic. He is the best college basketball writer in America. Read all his stuff from the Final Four and get ready to read a lot of more great stuff throughout the summer from CJ. Always a pleasure. We'll catch up when there's a little bit more portal actual maneuverings to talk about a little bit later on this summer, CJ. Thanks for the time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
That is CJ Moore. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk. Well, this will be a quick segment. We hit the top of the hour here on 580 Sports Talk. We got one more hour to hang out together before we break away for Royals baseball. Coming up at the 5 o'clock hour, got our 580 Sports Talk headlines, including a check-in at the Masters. We'll get a preview of tonight's series opener between the Royals and the White Sox. We're going to tell you about somebody who went out at the very top of their game. An inspirational story, kind of, but also a sad one. That's coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. Hang with us here on 580 Sports Talk on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW. Let's get it. Third and final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday. We are with you until 6 o'clock on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our live video streams on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. I say live video streams, the same stream. It's the same video, just two different places you can watch it. You watch it on Facebook, WIBW News. You watch it on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. If you watch it on YouTube, you can be in the live chat. And that's a fun place to be throughout the show. Interact with your fellow listeners and with your hosts as things go along. We appreciate you being here. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis hanging out on 580 Sports Talk. Again, at 6 o'clock, we're going to break away for Royals baseball. We always break away at 6 o'clock. But we got Royals baseball tonight. 6 o'clock pregame, 6:40 first pitch. As the Royals and White Sox renew hostilities for the first time in 2026. First of 13 between the Boys in Blue and the Pale Hose. First of a 4-game series at Kauffman Stadium. Seth Lugo and Anthony Kay, your scheduled starting pitchers. We'll get into that a little bit later on this hour. Also have a story of an athlete doing what every athlete wants, and that is going out at the top of their game. And we'll get into that a little bit later on. Text line is open, 785-272-9429. That's 785-272-9429. And keep that text line in mind because I've got one more keyword for you today for our Win 1K a Day sweepstakes here on 580 WIBW. It's real simple. You text the keyword this hour to, that's not the keyword, 785-272-9429. You text the keyword, just the keyword, and double check your spelling and everything before you send it. Text the keyword and you'll get registered for a chance to win $1,000. It's that simple. You just text one word and you have a chance to win $1,000. The keyword for this hour, book. B-O-O-K. Book. Book is the keyword. B-O-O-K. Book. Text book to 785-272-9429, and you will be registered for your chance to win $1,000 here, courtesy of your friends at 580 Sports Talk. Book is the keyword. B-O-O-K. So we got plenty we can get to in headlines today, but let's go ahead and start with a look at the Masters, which is going on right now. I've actually got the broadcast on to my right. And start with this. The professional sports franchise of Topeka, Kansas is very much in the hunt.
He turned it around?
Gary Woodland, 2 under through 14 today at Augusta, playing alongside Scotty Scheffler and Robert McIntyre. G-Dub came out hot, birdied the par 5 second and the par 4 third. Added another birdie on the par 5 8th to go out in 33. He was 3 under at that point, 2 shots off the lead. Start of Amen Corner didn't treat him well. He bogeyed the par 4 10th, but he's played par golf since. Had a tough par save on 14, had to make a tricky little sliding putt, knocked that through to make par on 14. He is currently on 15 as action draws to a close on the first day of the 2026 Masters.
It's cool to look at the leaderboard and see him right next to the guy that he teed off with.
Yeah.
And like one of the world's best golfers.
The world's best golfer, Scotty Scheffler. Yeah, it is.
Usually you see that there for the first couple holes maybe, but you're 3/4 of the way through the round and he's on par with the best in the world.
And he's kind of mirrored him a little bit. Scheffler eagled number 2 and then birdied 3. So he was 3 under through 3. And like Woodland went out in 33. He made bogey on 11 and has parred the rest of the way. 15's playing tough today. That's not been a scoring hole. The back 9 has played much tougher than the front 9 today. And the late window of players has had, generally speaking, a tougher go than the players who teed off early. Your co-leaders at 5 under par. The defending champion, Rory McIlroy, who just swaggered around the place all day on his way to a 67. He looked like a man totally unburdened. Like, he walked down the course like, hey, every shot I take here isn't a matter of my legacy, isn't a matter of life or death anymore. I can just go play golf. This is cool. And he went out and shot a day 167. He shares the lead with Sam Burns, who also shot a 67 today. Right now, Justin Rose is your third place golfer. He is 4 under through 15, just birdied 15, in fact. So he is 4 under par, 1 shot off the lead. 3 players at 3 under par, all in the clubhouse. Kurt Kitayama, Jason Day, and former Masters champion Patrick Reed. Shane Lowry and Xander Schauffele both 2 under par. They're tied for 7th, along with Woodland and Scheffler, who again are all out on 15 right now. A group at 1 under par, all finished, includes Hao Tong Lee, Nick Taylor, Tommy Fleetwood, Brian Campbell, Aaron Rye, and Jacob Bridgman. And if you know who all of those people are, you are a golf sicko. How many of those people did you know who they were before I read their names?
Not a lot, but I'm keeping my eye on that area of the leaderboard because there's a guy I'm rooting for from Leesburg. So
Who's that?
Michael Brennan.
Oh, okay. We haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah,
Michael Brennan is even through 17. A big group of golfers are at even par. The big names in that group include Max Homa, Keegan Bradley, Hideki Matsuyama, Wyndham Clark, Sergio Garcia, Adam Scott, and Wichita's own, Cape and Mount Carmel's own, Sam Stevens, who shot a 72 today in his Masters debut. Justin Thomas, Brooks Koepka, Jordan Spieth, Chris Gotterup, all even par, still out on the course. Golfers at 1 over par today included Akshay Bhatia, Dustin Johnson, and Cameron Young. Golfers at 2 over included Matt Fitzpatrick and Colin Morikawa, along with Cameron Smith. The He Swear He Me award for the day is shared between Aldrich Potgieter of South Africa and Naoyuki Kataoka of Japan, both of whom shot 84. Tough go for Potgieter. Both of these golfers, by the way, making their Masters debuts. Potgieter double bogeyed 4 of the first 12 holes on his way to shooting an 84 today. Kataoka actually was a respectable 2 over through the first 9 holes. Then on the back 9 went bogey, 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 double, par, double, bogey, par, double for a back 9 46 and a total score of 84. Those 2 gentlemen bringing up the rear on the Masters leaderboard. Since I know you're curious, my pick to win the tournament, Ludwig Oberg. Boy, he came out firing. He birdied 3 of the first 6 holes. Then he hit a nightmarish drive on 8, from which he barely saved par. Double bogey 9, bogeyed 10 and 11, and double bogeyed 13. He did birdie 14, but he currently sits at 2 over par, putting my Masters champion pick streak already in some early jeopardy.
It's okay. Could be my Masters pick.
Your Masters pick was whom again? Remind me, John Rahm.
John Rahm.
John Rahm is 6 over through 16. Play real golf, not those slap and tickle live events, and maybe you'd be a little more prepared. In a related story, Bryson DeChambeau shot a 76 today. Play real golf. Play on a real tour. Anyway, tough go for my guy Big Big. He came out, man. He was dancing on flag sticks, 3 under through 6. I was feeling good, man. I was watching him. He was dialed. And then he hit his tee shot on 8, like left of Rachel Maddow left, like way left. And I said, I don't like that. He was able to scramble and save par, but it just hasn't been the same for him since. If he could scramble, shave one more stroke before he's done. He's got 17 and 18 left to play. If he could get it to +1, I think he'd be all right. Remember, Rory was even par after 1 when he won it last year. So not out of it, but a long way to go and a tough road to hoe for my guy. But obviously the local angle here is that Gary Woodland is right now tied for 7th. He is 2 under par through 14, currently out on 15. For the record, Gary's never finished in the top 10 at the Masters. His best finish ever at the event was in 2023 when he finished in a tie for 14th. He has only ever made the cut 5 times at the Masters, including a missed cut his last time at Augusta in 2024. But starting off strong, and of course, his most recent event, he was a winner in Houston. So everybody's pulling for G-Dub, and he's off to a really nice start. And we'll keep you updated on how he fares through the rest of his day, and also throughout the tournament as well. Oh, Bobby McIntyre just got wet on 15. Uh-oh. Oh, dear. He's +3. He's the only guy in that group not having a good day. Scheffler and G-Dub are making putts and scoring well and saving pars, and Robert McIntyre looks like he wants to get on the first thing smoking back to Scotland. That's a tough one. Anyhow, that is your Masters update. Sorry, that's not as good as Chris Vernon's Masters updates, but we do what we can. Anyhow, Spencer, we got a lot of college basketball to get to. You want to just rip through those?
Yeah, and I'm getting even more here as we start this hour. We'll start first with KU. Samus Calderon has entered his name into the portal. KU down to just 2 returners, Rosario and Corbin Allen. While that is technically correct, according to friend of the show, our pal Michael Swain, Paul Mbia has not officially entered his name into the portal yet. So I don't know what that means. That's just per what he posted here in response to a question on the old X just a little bit ago.
Quick update. G-Dub just blew his approach on 15 like 2 miles past the green. It stayed dry, but going to be tough for him to score on 15. He had the wrong club. He definitely had the wrong club. Anyway, Samus Calderon in the portal. Not a huge surprise. Didn't look like he was really going to be a long-term part of KU's plans. Yeah. Not quite sure he's that level of player, as it turns out. Anyway, Continue.
Jaden Dawson, who was touted as a big transfer in last year, didn't pan out. He has entered his name into the portal. You might ask yourself, why is that newsworthy? Because he doesn't have any eligibility left as of right now. He tells Henry Greenstein of the Lawrence Journal
That'd
World,
be Greenstein,
that he is trying to get a medical for his freshman season at Loyola, in which he played 14 games, broke his hand, missed the rest of the year. He said he played 2 games on a broken hand before knowing it was broken. He added, quote, "I'm just looking for a fresh start to prove myself one last time. Obviously, this year didn't pan out the way I thought it would, so I'm just looking for another opportunity so I can reinvent myself." That's it for KU news. K-State losing another player. Wing Moby Ike Garuka has hit the portal. Also some other news and notes from the K-State staff.
Yes, the darndest thing. I don't think anybody has talked about him at all. I think the broad assumption was he wasn't going to be back.
Yeah, but because he didn't play.
Right.
He was latter half conference play.
Right. He would have 1 more year of eligibility, I believe.
Casey Alexander is filling out is just about finished filling out his staff. Kansas State will have something that it did not have in the Jerome Tang era. That is a GM. They have hired, I'm trying to pull up the name here, Sean Ritigliano to be the GM. He is familiar with Casey Alexander as he was on his staff at Belmont. He joins assistant coaches J.J. Butler, Karan Johnson, and Luke Smith, all of whom those were announced back on the 30th. So he'll have help in constructing the roster while also being an on-court coach as well.
Yeah, it had been reported that Ritigliano was going to join the staff. I don't know that it was clear immediately that he was going to be the GM.
Yeah.
But he's, another one of Casey Alexander's guys. Goes back with him. Got some head coaching experience last year, most recently the head coach at Division III Colby College in Maine. Not to be confused with Colby Community College in Northwest Kansas. Go Trojans. But that was not a surprise that he is added to the staff. Interesting that he's going to be the GM. As you pointed out, general manager was not a position on the previous Kansas State men's basketball staff. Most staffs are adding a general manager to deal with things like player movement, transfer portal, dealings with the NIL, so that head coaches have less to do with all of that. Lots of older coaches, and Alexander's an older coach, want not so much to do with all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So they like to delegate. You know, you get enough
He's
power.
the guy he trusts.
Yes, you get enough power, you like to delegate. Now, yeah, he's delegating to somebody that he trusts.
One other note here, former K-State interim head coach and associate head coach Matt Driscoll. He's going to join Justin Gainey's new staff at NC State. Kind of sounded like he was going to sunset his career, kind of the way he phrased things in press conferences at the end of the season for K-State, but he's going to go head to NC State, go back to the East Coast where he was for so many years when he was with North Florida.
Matt Driscoll, as the interim head coach at Kansas State, will always be a very strange chapter in Kansas State men's basketball
talking about
history.
the former head coach.
Yes,
in every press conference.
Just not a fun year. Not a fun year. Not a fun chapter of Kansas State basketball history. That's for sure. Next headline for me. This is Royals Stadium news. An ordinance laying out a financing framework for a new Royals Stadium at Washington Square Park, downtown KC, will be introduced Thursday at the City Council meeting. Mayor Quentin Lucas announced the framework for a $1.9 billion stadium at the park and nearby Crown Center, calling it the largest economic development project in downtown KC Mo's history. In a news release Thursday, Lucas said, the new Royals downtown stadium is not just a stadium development. When completed, it will be the largest single economic development project in the history of downtown Kansas City. Sorry, Department of Redundancy Department didn't catch that one. The project, with a current estimated investment of $1.9 billion into our city's workers, our businesses, and our downtown, will deliver tens of thousands of guests to downtown Kansas City on additional nights per year, and will have more than 300 days per year of year-round engagement, tourist activity, and conference, concert, and special event activation. The ordinance, if passed, would direct city officials to work with the Royals as no new taxes will be required, and the city will work to include community benefits that reach every corner of the city. The ordinance anticipates that the state, through the Show Me Sports Investment Act, which is something they passed that was kind of in response to when Kansas started to put their star bonds together and say, hey, we're going to get the Chiefs to build a stadium in Kansas. And Missouri was like, no, you won't. And Kansas like, hey, you watch us. And Missouri said, well, we better cover our butts here with our own star bond type of deal. And they did. And obviously that wasn't good enough to keep the Chiefs in Missouri. But this program could potentially be used to fund up to 50% of qualifying stadium costs.
Be interesting to see where it's going to go.
So there were two councilmen at the city council meeting that did not co-sponsor the legislation. One of them was Nathan Willett. He released a statement that read, public feedback is crucial before voting on any stadium proposal. I did not join my other colleagues in sponsoring the proposed legislation. Any proposal should be approved by the taxpayers of Kansas City. In the meantime, I will make sure the details of the proposal do not harm police and fire budgets. So it did not pass unanimously. And same thing that we talked about when the plan to bring the Chiefs to Kansas was released. Absolutely quibble with the idea of citizens being on the hook for any portion of a stadium. You're billionaires, pay for your own damn stadium. I absolutely understand and am receptive to that line of thinking, that millionaires real estate, profit from all that real estate, and nobody gets nothing from that except, I don't know, a place to go get a burger, a really expensive burger. Was in Kansas City, especially after the Chiefs left or announced plans to leave. They were always going to stay in Kansas City, and a downtown ballpark just makes the most sense. It's the best place to put a ballpark to grow attendance. The biggest reason the Royals lag behind in attendance is you just don't get walk-up crowds to a stadium that's in the middle of damn nowhere. We need a walk-up crowd for that. But you put a stadium downtown, all of a sudden it becomes part of a night out. You get more walk-up crowds. You'll get better attendance, even on those nights that are typically lean attendance nights, and in those years that are typically lean attendance years. And you have a better atmosphere. And I do. I love downtown ballparks as much as I love Kauffman Stadium, and I do love Kauffman Stadium. I love it dearly. I wish that they had explored more seriously options to keep Kauffman Stadium viable long term. I also understand that sometimes something new needs to be built, and if they were going to have something new, downtown's where it needs to be. So that is the latest on that development from today's city council meeting in KC Mo. Got another headline for us?
Yeah, the Justice Department is investigating the NFL over subscription fee concerns. The DOJ probe is focused on possible anti-competitive tactics. A person familiar with the investigation told NBC News. Basically, this is in response to them looking at the 1961 Sports Broadcasting Act, allowed for sports leagues to get around some of the antitrust concerns and negotiate media rights, but it's because everybody's saying there's a zillion places you got to go to watch games, so you have to pay $1 zillion to find every game, essentially, right? Like, that's, I feel like, the main part of this.
So interesting to note that the outlet that had this story first was the Wall Street Journal, which is owned by the same people that own Fox. And Fox is the over-the-air partner that is most frustrated with the rising costs of having the National Football League, being a partner with the National Football League. There's a part of me that wonders if this is a little bit redemptive from what is known to be a pretty redemptive Justice Department currently. When the NFL said they weren't backing down on the Rooney Rule thing, part of me wonder if that was a bit of a trial balloon. The NFL did make a statement today that said, quote, in part, the NFL's media distribution model is the most fan and broadcaster friendly in the entire sports and entertainment industry. The NFL has for decades put our fans front and center in how we distribute our content, pointing out that 87% of its games are on free over-the-air television, and games are always free to the markets where teams are playing when they play, which is 100% true and not something that, like, any of the other professional leagues can say. That's true. Like, it is not free to watch the Kansas City Royals. But if you have an antenna and that's all you have, and you live in Kansas City, you can watch every single Chiefs game that is on a Sunday or is on a streaming service, because they end up airing those streaming games, the prime games or whatever, on a local affiliate. You might be out of luck on Monday Night Football, but every other game you can watch.
Yeah.
So they're not wrong when they say it is fan friendly in that regard. But no, this feels a little redemptive. It feels a little bit like some grandstanding, and maybe there was some high-ranking member of the Senate or somebody close to the White House that maybe lost their Netflix password and doesn't want to have to go through that circus of trying to figure out where to watch their games next season. So anyhow, that is the headline there. One more quick check-in on the Masters. Unfortunately, is not good news for Gary Woodland. He doubled the 15th, so he is back down to even par. At least he did not quadruple bogey the 15th like Robert McIntyre did. It was just a bad hole for everybody except Scotty Scheffler, who's got a chance to birdie it. But McIlroy and Burns, your leaders at 5 under. Justin Rose bogeyed 17. He's down to -3 in a big tie there. Gary Woodland just fell back to even par. But that's not a bad place to be, because even par after one round was the position that Rory McIlroy found himself in last year when he won the tournament. So we'll see if Gary can get back on track on his final 3 holes. Take a time out here at 580 Sports Talk. Talk a little baseball when we come back. Royals and White Sox tonight at the K. We'll preview it next. .533 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero, Spencer Dupuis with you until 6 o'clock. We'll hand things off to the Royals Baseball Network. Royals and White Sox game 1 out of 4 of their 4-game series at Kauffman Stadium. Royals made a couple of roster moves today, needed some fresh arms in the bullpen, so they optioned the least fresh of their arms. Luinder Avila and Steven Cruz both on their way back to Omaha after both worked extended relief in Wednesday's loss in Cleveland. On their way to the big club, Eli Morgan and Mitch Spence. Morgan, you've already seen 3 scoreless innings and a save in his Royals debut last Saturday against Milwaukee. He was the 27th man in that doubleheader. Morgan, a veteran of 6 years in the bigs, mostly with Cleveland, last year with the Cubs briefly. Mitch Spence is the other call-up. You haven't seen him in a Royals uniform yet, but he is no stranger to the major leagues. He's appeared in 67 games, 32 as a starter and 35 in relief over the last 2 seasons with the Oakland/Sacramento Athletics. He's probably going to slot in as the long relief guy. Obviously, that was originally Bailey Falter's role, and he got injured. Then Luinder Avila was going to cover that role, and then he pitched on Wednesday, and the Royals needed a fresher arm. And Spence is going to fill that long relief role, while you'll see Morgan as more of a versatile relief arm. He can do multiple innings. He can go short burst relief as well. So that is that's the call up for the Royals today. The couple of roster moves that they made. I lied on G-Dub. He almost saved par on the 15th. So he's only 1 under. I said he was back to even par. I shortchanged him. He's at 1 under according.
How could you do that to the professional sports franchise of Topeka?
Clearly, I'm only half paying attention. I'm hosting a radio show, so I'm only half paying attention to what I'm seeing. I thought that he had it was his second shot that he, and a lot of guys here in the second half of the day at Augusta have just completely hit their second shots off the planet, like way long over the green. I don't know what they're seeing or not, but been a rough go for some guys. A lot of guys there have made 9s today. Freddie Couples made a 9. And Bobby Mack just made a 9. Looks like my guy Ludwig's going to finish 2 over today. 7 shots off the pace. He's got to do some catching up tomorrow. I still believe. I can make it 4 for 4. Royals lineup South the big leagues after spending the last 2 years in Japan. Will be Michael Garcia leading off at third base, Bobby Witt Jr. at short, Vinny Pasquantino is your first baseman. Salvador Perez will do the catching and hit fourth, and then Lane Thomas gets the start in right field against the lefty. Jack Caglione will DH and bat sixth, then Jonathan India, Isaac Collins, and Kyle Isbel rounding out Matt Quatrero's 9 in support of Seth Lugo, who's been quite good in his first 2 starts of the season. That's been a welcome sight given 2 things. Number one, Lugo was not particularly good last year, especially down the stretch as he dealt with some injuries. And number 2, Lugo has not always been a fast starter in his career, but his first 2 starts this season have been quite good. So Seth Lugo will face this lineup for the White Sox. Chase Maidroth is the second baseman. He'll lead off. The Japanese import Munetaka Murakami is their leading home run hitter. He bats second and plays first base. Miguel Vargas is the third baseman. Colson Montgomery's at short. Royal great Andrew Benintendi DHs and bats fifth. Dustin Harris is the left fielder batting sixth. This is the first I'm hearing that there is a professional baseball player with that name. Edgar Cuero is the catcher. He bats seventh. Luis Angel Acuna, that's Ronald's brother. Ronald got all the talent in the family. Acuna bats eighth in center field. And another totally real person that I definitely knew existed before just now, Tristan Peters, is in right field for the White Sox tonight. You know, I do this bit every time the Royals play a team that isn't very good for the first time. I do this bit, and inevitably, the players that I say I've never heard of have big games.
I can't wait for that to happen.
Who was it last year for the Angels? I have to go figure this out. It's going to bother me because last year for the Angels, I did this whole thing about, no, you can't convince me that's a real guy. And I think it was Bryce Teodosio, their center fielder. And he hit like 203 last year, but I think he had one of his best games of the season against the Royals. I totally jinxed the Royals. I got to go find this. I'm looking at Teodosio's game log. Yeah, he drove in a run in a 5-1 Angels win last year. So that maybe should serve as a lesson, but clearly it's not one that I've learned just yet. So Dustin Harris and Tristan Peters, I guess go ahead and mark those guys down to have big games tonight. We talked about this in the 3 o'clock hour. You weren't around, Spencer. What do you think of the City Connects, the new City Connect uniforms for the Royals? What's your take?
In general, I think the MLB messed up this round of City Connects overall.
You don't like any of them?
No.
So I think there are some that are okay. Like there are elements to some of them that I like. I like that the Royals uniform looks like a baseball uniform. That my biggest problem with some of these is that they do not look like something a baseball team would wear. They look like pullover, little league, or slow pitch softball jerseys, especially when you pair them with colored pants, like the Reds and the Pirates. The Royals have resisted that to their credit. They have a white jersey that they will wear with white pants. I like that. They're going to look like a baseball team wearing these uniforms. Now, what you think of the colors, what you think of the logo elements, things like that, your mileage on that may vary, but my thought is that I really appreciate that the Royals uniforms look like baseball uniforms. And I thank Nike for not doing the Royals dirty in that regard.
I just think the coloring could have been better. I don't understand where the coloring comes from.
So it's the flag, right? Is it the Kansas City flag?
I think
or is
so.
it the not the state flag? Yeah, it's Kansas City flag, and it's just a more extreme gradient of that blue and red goes from like a lighter blue to really a magenta. And so that's where that comes from.
I think if they just kept the blue color the whole time, I think it'd be a pretty sweet jersey.
I kind of do too. But
the fading doesn't I don't like the fading on the cap. That looks weird.
Yeah, the gradient on the hat is the worst part of it. And the helmet, when you see the batting helmet, it's going to be even more extreme. And I really don't like that. It looks like somebody melted ice cream on the top of the hat. I really don't care for that particular design element. That doesn't work for me. I think the logos are fine. I think the jersey numbers are fine. I think the sleeve striping looks good. Like, there are elements of it I like. It is one of the less convoluted ones as those things go. A lot of the jerseys end up being pretty convoluted, like all these explanations about why we chose this color, or why we have this little design on the cuff of our sleeve that you can't even see if you're watching the game on TV. But who's got the 8 teams that released theirs today? The Brewers, the Padres, the Pirates, the Royals, the Reds, the Orioles, the Braves, and the Rangers. Which one is your favorite? If you've seen them all, which one is your favorite?
I kind of like Baltimore's.
See, I think so. They have "Be More" on the chest, which I think is stupid, but whatever. Maybe locals like to call Baltimore "Be More." Maybe that's the thing they've been doing.
I mean, like, I will tell you, like, if I go see my buddy and, like, I was like, hey, are we gonna go out and be more?
Okay.
Sometimes I'll say be more instead of Baltimore.
Okay. So if it is a little bit more common than I
But
realize.
I really like the bird above the R.
Yes, they brought back the ornithologically correct bird, which I like. And like the dark green with the in the uniform, I think is a really cool color that doesn't get used often enough in uniforms. So I like that element of it. I love Atlanta's, the powder blue tops, the curse of Atlanta, the nod to the old TBS logo on the sleeve, the powder blue cap. Basically, you put any team in a powder blue, I'm calling it a winner. So I really like Atlanta's. The Reds look like a blood clot, red on red. It's ridiculous. The Pirates, like, I think their word mark is really cool, but black on black is stupid. I love their hat. They have the best hat.
Yeah.
The gold hat with Bucko Bruce in the
yeah.
middle. The Brewers ones have Wisco on the front. Who is calling Wisconsin Wisco? And will you please stop?
I feel like it's a social media thing.
Maybe it is. That one is terrible. San Diego's is all right. The Rangers just look like they stole Texas's jerseys, like the University of Texas, but then made them Oklahoma colors and replaced the X with a J. So it says Tejas. Which, if you know anything about the history of the Texas Rangers and their relationship to the Hispanic community of the of Dallas and the state of Texas as a whole, it's a little wild to put Tejas on a Texas Rangers jersey. Just saying, do your Googles, do some digging on the history there of the Texas Rangers. So yeah, I actually think the Royals came out pretty good. Like, they don't look like a softball team; they look like a baseball team. The hat's dumb. I understand if you don't love the extreme, like the gradient on the colors, but I think it'll look good on the field, and that's at the end of the day really all that matters, right?
Yeah.
I think it'll look good on the field. We'll take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, I'm going to tell you a story about an athlete who went out at the top of his game. That's next on 580 Sports Talk. Quick Masters update. G-Dub on the tee at 17. Fox News right off the tee. Way right. He can grin and bear it a little bit. He's got good perspective. He's not like Bobby Mack. Earlier in the day, shot the bird. He hit such a bad shot. He put out his middle finger and cameras caught it and everything. Also was heard saying, caught on camera saying a pretty naughty word that I can't repeat.
I feel like it's the Masters. Don't say that stuff there. Like, it's hollow ground.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not real
You can't
pleased.
have phones there. You shouldn't be able to cuss.
Yeah, I'm sure the patrons and the keepers of Augusta were not real happy to hear Bobby Mack with the swear. Even in a Scottish brogue, probably weren't real happy with it. So I have no idea how this came across my social media because I'm not a bowler. So I don't go seek out a lot of bowling content. But I had this piece of bowling content delivered to me on social media from the website bowlage.com. This was yesterday. This one comes with a very heavy heart. Last night, Doug Thornburg of South Carolina rolled a perfect game 300 during Game 2 of his league at Strikers Family Sports Center. Unfortunately, he started feeling ill during Game 3, and from what I'm told, he passed away shortly thereafter at the bowling center. I'm not even sure what the right words are to say right now. Please observe a moment of silence on his passing. First of all, thoughts, prayers, Doug Thornburg's family, friends, loved ones, bowling teammates. Awful to hear that. Hope for the best and for peace for his family and friends. But look, doesn't every athlete want to go out at their peak? Doesn't every athlete want to go out at the top of their game? Can you imagine what a legend that guy is going to be for as long as there is a Strikers Family Sports Center in South Carolina? They're going to pass that story down. Did you hear the one about the guy who bowled a 300 and then died? All-time story, right? That name is going to live on and echo through the generations. Not only did this man die doing something we presume he loved, because look, you don't accidentally bowl a 300. You been bowling? You bowl a lot?
Not a lot.
You're not on occasion. You're not going to run into a 300 game. You got to be serious about what you're doing. You're not going to be me running up and just rolling it hard and straight down the middle and do that and roll 300.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty serious about it as these things go. I often wonder, what's the most casual bowler you can possibly be and roll a 300? It's not like hitting a hole in one in golf. It's more like breaking par in golf. You got to be you got to be a player. You got to have a certain level of ability. You're going to bowl a 300. You're going to roll a perfect game. This guy rolls a perfect game, and then something gives out on him during Game 3, and he dies at the bowling center, man. That is going to be the story that everybody in the bowling community in that state tells for the rest of their lives and passes on. The legend, Doug Thornburg. Bowled 300, checked out right after. That's one part of the story. The other part of the story, you just know that there was somebody at the lanes. People are freaking out, probably. People are horrified to see what is transpiring in front of them. Presume there was, EMTs, probably an ambulance on the scene, probably medical professionals. You just know there was somebody in there. It's league night, right? It's league night. There's somebody in there. Hey, can we get a look at the bylaws? They disqualified. What do we do about the score? What do we do about Doug's score here in Game 3? How does that affect the league? It's a league game. There are rules. If you mark that frame 8, you are entering a world of pain. I learned anything from the Big Lebowski. League bowlers, very serious about the rules. Smokey, maybe not so much. Mark it 8, man. Am I the only one around here who gives a damn about the rules? That's not the quote. I can't do the quote. But that was my second thought. My first thought was, man, what a way to go. Bowl of 300. And you wonder if it was his first. It would be very poetic if it was his first. Yeah. And if you were the kind of guy who said something like, man, if I bowled a 300 game, I could die happy. And God was like, bet.
Let's do
All
it.
right.
300.
But no, and even if it was his first or it was his 50th or whatever, like to go out doing what he loved and to go out at the very peak. That's like Peyton Manning going out with the Super Bowl 50 championship trophy. Although Peyton Manning did not roll the equivalent of a 300 game in Super Bowl 50 like as a player. And of course, Peyton Manning's still very much with us. But other than that, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Going out at the very peak of your abilities and becoming a legend. They will remember the name. There's hundreds of dudes that roll 300 games on league night across the country. But there's only one Doug Thornburg who rolled a 300, checked out. Left his keys at the table, checked out. Salute to Doug Thornburg, living the dream of every athlete, going out at the top of the game. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back with the final word after this. Time to wrap up this edition of 580 Sports Talk with a final word. Spencer Dupuis, what you got?
Final word for me today, obviously contingent on all the T's dotting and the crossing, whatever that phrase is, crossing the I's, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. I got it right.
There you go. Third time was the charm.
The Royals could be playing downtown baseball a year before the Chiefs are moving to Kansas. I think that'd be crazy if they get. I think I was reading today they got to break ground by spring of 2020, so a year from now. They got to break down ground by a year from now. If that happens, I think it'd be crazy that they waited this long and could have opening day at their ballpark before the Chiefs do. That'd be crazy to me if that indeed does happen.
The final word for me today, the Kansas City Royals offense was not good the last 2 days. Sending up some alarm bells, some flares, whatever you want to call it. But it was not pleasant to watch the Royals at the bat over the last 2 days of baseball. But they're back home where they got to be a bit more comfortable, and they're facing White Sox pitching against whom everybody has been comfortable this year. The White Sox team ERA coming in 5.45. They're giving up a home run per 9, walking nearly 5 batters per 9. That includes today's starter, Anthony Kay, who has given up 2 home runs in his 9 innings and walked 6 to just 5 strikeouts. The Royals' patient approach should pay some dividends against the 31-year-old lefty tonight. And That's one way to get more scoring opportunities, but they have to cash in. I think I saw where they're 4 for their last 51 with runners in scoring position. That obviously is not going to cut it. Somebody needs to get the big hit that breaks the dam tonight. Will it be Bobby Witt Jr., perhaps getting on the board with his first home run of the season? Maybe it'll be Vinny Pasquantino with his first home run of the campaign. But somebody's got to break the dam, because when it breaks and when those big guns start going at the top of the Royals order, I think their offense still has a chance to be just fine. And no better opportunity like the one in front of them to get right against one of the American League's weaker pitching staffs. Royals baseball is coming up next. Pregame at 6 o'clock and the first pitch at 6:40. We'll be back with you tomorrow from 3 until 6. We'll talk to our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick. We'll hope to have Zach Watkins, Washburn football head coach, on ahead of their spring game tomorrow night. We'll recap Royals baseball from tonight, preview tomorrow's game as well. That's tomorrow at 3. Royals baseball is next. For Spencer, I'm Dan. This was 580 Sports Talk. Good night.